Hello and welcome to my latest What Happens Next puzzle. I've selected a game from the recent Icelandic Championship. This took place in April, and you can see on the board that this is a pretty typical King's Indian type position. Actually, it arose from a Leningrad Dutch, but it's a King's Indian structure with a white pawn on d5 and black pawns on d6 and e5. Already I rather like white's position. You can see that there's this blockading knight on e4, and that the knight looks over at these critical squares, and very often if you can maintain this blockading knight in the King's Indian, you're doing pretty well. And the other thing is, this black knight on f7 does not look very good. It obviously can't move to these squares, it can't move to g5, and it simply blocks the rook on the f-file, and of course the f-file is very often where we're looking for counterplay in these kind of positions. So what did black do here to try and counter this? Well, he took the radical step of taking on e4, giving up a bishop, well, bishop for a knight, the minor exchange. But that allows him to bring the knight into c5, the rook of course has to go back, and now he pushes the pawn on e4, and the position has changed radically, because now this bishop breathes fire down the diagonal, and the knight is allowed to come into the e5 square. So let's see how this works out in practice. White retreated the knight to d2 and is simply wanting to take the pawn on e4. Black took, and now he went all in. He decided to make a virtue of the fact that this pawn was loose and is sacrificing it. If pawn takes pawn, then I think simply knight e5, and well, I think all we can say is black has pretty good compensation for the pawn. Obviously the knight is on an excellent square, this knight is also good. Bishop is strong, it might pop out to h6 at some moment, it's also good on the diagonal, and of course the f-file is opened. And now that the f-pawn has moved, the white king is weakened. So I think basically decent compensation for black. So instead of this, white played rook takes pawn. But this allowed black to gain some time attacking the rook. The rook came back, we'll see, covering the f2 square. Then the knight came forward. Now white tried to untangle now with knight b3. That looks like a pretty good reaction to me. So this is clearly a critical moment. Black has come forward, the bishop has improved its position, this knight has found a good square, the knight is on c5, but white is fighting back. And it's in this position that I'd like you to make a choice. You have to look at this position, analyse, and I'm going to give you two options. Okay, my first option is knight takes b3. Should black play knight takes b3? Or should black play bishop takes f2 check? Clearly some calculation is involved in this puzzle. So knight takes b3 or bishop takes f2. At the end of this clip on the screen you'll see two buttons appear. You just have to click on the move that you'd like to play, and that'll lead you through to my next clip where I'll analyse each option and hopefully try to explain what's going on in this position. Enjoy the puzzle.